There we go.
We're live.
We're live.
Yeah.
So, did you vote?
Yes, I voted at 9:30. And there was a
9:30?
line.
Big line?
Yeah. I was
Alright.
well, not huge, but it took a while. So I did vote. I hope everybody else did too.
No, that's good. So we welcome everyone. We're here with Get Curious, and we're gonna have a conversation with Melinda Robison, not Robinson.
No, it's actually Robison.
Robison.
Yes.
I always go Robison because I'm trying not to get the
I
N.
know.
It's confusing when you do that.
But you do know the joke, right?
That's why
like-
I was teeing it up for you.
Yes. Thank you. That was perfect.
what's the
so
joke?
Melinda doesn't make enough money in real estate for the letter N in the middle of her last name.
So
That's how clients remind, that's how I can
Robison.
tell them. Because
Robison.
Mm-hmm. Robison.
You couldn't afford the whole word.
That's right. Wheel of Fortune.
Got it.
So we just kind of like to break the ice and stuff like that. So tell me,
That's good.
are you a Grand Rapids girl? Did you grow up in Grand Rapids?
No, I'm a country girl.
Country girl?
I grew up in a little town called St. John's, which is kind of by Lansing. So if you
Okay.
ever heard of Uncle John's Cider Mill, that's like the famous
Oh,
place.
really?
I grew up a mile from there, so yeah. So
did not
that's
know
kind of, I was like country, and then
Did you have a high school job you did? Like
Yes.
Where was it?
I actually worked for a bridal shop.
Oh,
It
really?
was super fun. So
Yeah.
most of the time you got to work with like people who were happy.
Yeah.
I mean, most brides are happy, some aren't,
Mhm.
believe it or not. So that was a lot of fun. And then when we were slow, sometimes we'd be like, let's just try dresses on.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we would go in, and so like it took me like 5 seconds to find my wedding dress because like I already tried on a ton of dresses.
Favorite food?
Favorite
What's your go-to? Like
My go-to?
Yeah.
Like go-to if it's, Outback.
Outback.
Steak, potatoes, salad.
Nice.
Come on. Just
Bloom
I'm
onion?
boring. Like you're not gonna find me at a fancy.
So if you had to cheat at a fast food, would it be McDonald's?
Fast food
Burger?
would be McDonald's because my
McDonald's?
son, I think he'll
McDonald's?
own a McDonald's someday.
Okay.
So
Do you have children? How many
Yes.
children do you have?
I have 2 children.
Okay.
I have a 14-year-old who will be 15 in December,
Mm-hmm.
and sadly taller than me.
Wow,
But it's
so-
okay. She goes to the grocery store and I'm like, grab that for me, please.
Yeah.
Or I randomly will pull strangers and say, hey, can you grab that for me? So, whatever. It's just what
Where's
short
your
people
Where's
do.
your favorite place to vacation?
Hold on, I have
Okay,
a son.
okay.
sorry. I'm just warning you. I have ADD. I'm pretty sure. So
That's a good
I
trait
get
for
off.
real
I get
trips.
off task a lot. So I have a 9-year-old son. So and he keeps me on my toes. He's the
Yeah.
sweet kid. So
What school do they go to? Are they-
Allendale.
Allendale. Okay.
this boat, they feed. And then, you pack your bags in the room, and then all of a sudden you're in a country, and then you go to sleep, and you're in another country. Like
So it's just
awesome.
super relaxing because it's all being taken care of.
Yeah, I don't have to do anything. That is the time I will
Do
try
you get
fancy food, though.
the unlimited drink package?
No,
No?
because we don't drink, and
Okay.
I don't drink pop really either.
Yeah.
Once in a blue moon, I will, but
Okay.
it wouldn't be worth it.
Excursions and you do all that stuff?
Oh yeah. Best excursion we ever took was I just about died. So first off, my husband for our 15-year anniversary, he takes me somewhere every single year,
Okay.
like a surprise anniversary
fun.
trip. But one year for our 15-year, he's like, we have to do something really big. So he did tell me where we were gonna go, and I'm like, Alaska.
Oh, man.
Like, are you kidding me? You're taking me
You like the
somewhere
sun,
cold
yeah.
when I love hot.
Yeah.
And anyway, but that was really great. So so we did that.
Was it a
and-
cruise? as
Yeah,
well?
yeah,
Okay.
yep. That was a cruise. Yeah. So we discovered then though you occasionally need ginger ale if you're feeling because we had like 30-foot waves
Oh my
out in the
gosh.
open ocean and stuff
wow.
like that. So anyway, I had a whole point that I was gonna go down, but I kind of forgot. You guys are making me nervous.
Sorry. Well, how long you been in real estate?
Okay. 14 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So quite a while.
Where did you start out at?
I started out at a company that's not there anymore. It's a Century 21, but Pearson Cook. So
Yep.
they
I
are
remember
no
that.
longer. And I was there for about a year and a half. Came over to 5 Star. And then I was there, I don't know, maybe 7-ish years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left to go help train agents at another company for 2.5. And then I decided 5-star was home. So I'm back.
So welcome back.
I don't know how long I've been back. 3 years, 4 years, somewhere.
Was it like right around 4? So was it like out of the gate you were just like selling crazy? Was it hard? Tell us about those first maybe year or so. Or
Okay, so when I got into real estate, they're like, yeah, real estate's going to get better. And you're like, oh, the next year it's going to get better. And you're like, when? So
wait, 14 years ago was 2000. Help me with the math.
2004, right?
Okay. So it's
So yeah,
it's a good market.
Yep. So it was kind of interesting. I got in. I did not know what I was doing. I did not have anybody like me to like help.
Mm-hmm.
Although I will have to give a shout out to Lori Zocco and Marcy Swanson because they kind of took me under their wing a little bit and then helped me out. So I just didn't know what I was doing. So my very first listing was my brother and sister-in-law. And I'm like, I don't know, I went to seminar. They said, hit your feet to the street. So I'm like, I'm going to have an open house. So I was like, I was like literally downtown Ionia, like asking if I could put up flyers at storefronts and stuff like that, like taping. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, passing out flyers. And then all of a sudden, this guy walks out of our house and I go, oh my word, I'm not talking. Just keep going. Because anybody who's seen my real estate video knows I'm actually shy, even though nobody
Right.
Anyway, so he's like, hey, what do you got there? It was like an election time. So I was like, oh, well, I'm just having an open house on Sunday. He's like, I need somebody like you. Come in here. He was actually the head of a ring of investors. So I ended up helping them like buy and sell. So I felt that I did pretty good. I think in my first 16 months of business, because I kind of got in like near the end, like August I got licensed. So in 16 months I did 16 sales. So I didn't think that was bad for somebody new, not knowing what I did, thrown in the lion's den, just go
sink or swim.
do it.
Well, what's
right?
interesting is that you did stuff. You didn't just like think and think and think. You were passing out flyers for an open house. Yeah.
I didn't know what to do.
So that's great.
And
now you have a team, right?
Yes.
Tell us why. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No?
I wanted to go, before we jump to today, I'm kind of curious. You and I went to a class together called the Flying Tigers.
Yes. I took it so many times.
Yeah.
John Tenz is my hero.
Were you in the class with me when the person asked him to shut the growling off because it was growling? His tigers around the rooms were growling so frequently.
Maybe was that one of the Grand Rapids ones?
Yeah, and the tiger just kept growling the whole time. He had these tigers that would were triggered by noise, I think, and so he'd be talking up front and like the things are just growling and growling and growling, and finally someone was like, can we shut the growling off? But that was our class. I think we were in there together. But that I feel like over the years that class has always come up as a very important thing to you in your career.
Absolutely.
Can you tell me what was it about that class? And was that sort of like did a switch flip for you at that time? Where did you go from doing the 16 deals a year to where you are today?
So basically, I was a new agent. Where I was at 10-21, it's a very different atmosphere as far as how commissions and all this stuff. So anyway, but I actually went to an awards ceremony right at the end of me being there, and John Tenza was there. And so I called him and I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about switching companies, but it's like, it's all me. Like I have all my own bills and all that, like, oh my goodness, this is scary. So, because at that time, 5-star only offered 100% commission. So it was like, this is scary. And so he's like, well, let's talk because you have to qualify to work with me. I'm like, oh my gosh. So he was holding a Flying Tigers class that I drove literally, like you all got it easy, but I literally drove to Brighton, Michigan every single Friday. It was a big commitment. I think I had to leave at like 6:30 in the morning to drive there, to get there. In fact, I even delayed like my vacation by a day to get there. So I went literally 8 weeks in a row. So that was an amazing class because you really learn about personality, learning body language and things like that, and just like he teaches you a language, but it's like your normal words, but I don't really know how to explain it other than it's a language, but yet with your own words, and that's still like part of me today, how I speak. And it really just pulled me out of like what I would call my shell. Because again, I was like, I'm not shy as I used to be, still I'm shy, but it was like I needed to get out of that. And that's like probably one of my biggest aha moments, and I actually taught about that a few weeks ago, was about what's the biggest obstacle in real estate. And the biggest obstacle in real estate is you.
Yeah.
It's me. You got to get yourself
Right
out
here,
of the
right
way.
here.
Yeah. You have to get yourself out of the way to do that, because it's like we're just not naturally born to do, well, we might be. I'm not sure. Some of you are. So, but for somebody who's shy, it's very hard to be like, oh, I got to do this. Oh, and you're just kind of like, feel like you worry about what other people think about me, and, all of that. And I'm kind of at the point now, I'm just getting old and cranky now. So, whatever. So. Like my friend Marcy said, like, I like getting older because I can say what I want, do what I want. Who cares? It's like, yeah, I think I'm kind of at that point now.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of like steps through that process, and a lot of like wins, and like failures are not a bad thing either, because you learn from them. As long as you take them to learn from them and not make them set you back and put you in a bad spot.
For sure.
Yeah.
So.
Do you still take, I know you've been associated with Ninja, which
Yes.
we talk about here. Do you have that where you're always learning and getting pumped up or learning stuff? Is that a part of who you are in your real estate career?
Yeah. I'm just going to be honest. Like, I'm kind of like now where it's like I've taken so many real estate classes through the years. I'm like, I feel like for the most part, they're all the same. Just maybe with a slightly different twist.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think if you can get into a class that's very strong about teaching personalities, that will help you more than anything. Like, that was really like the John Tenza thing.
Yeah.
The Ninja thing I thought was great because it kind of gives you like, especially when you're new, it's like, this is a routine. Like, this is good. This is what you do, because you're like, what am I supposed to do?
What do I do with my day?
What do we do? What do we do? I don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's 8 a.m., now what?
But I think, and it kind of helps you more focus, because I feel like there's a ton of time wasters. Like, there's tons of time waster stuff that people do. Like, yeah, I worked 50 hours this week. Doing what?
Yeah.
You didn't even meet with a client. How did that take you 50 hours? Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like with classes, there's like a couple different schools. Maybe one's like those that are geared towards the sphere.
Yeah.
And some that are geared towards like productivity.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, it's calling, it's this,
Yeah.
it's that, it's wham.
Right.
And so, is it correct to say that you were never really a cold caller then?
I would call that correct. I did, though. I knocked on a lot of doors, though.
Yeah.
When I was a new agent, I'm like, can't hurt. I mean, if nothing else, it was getting me to, like, break out of my shell.
You're just getting out there.
Right. If you say something stupid, it's like, well, you'll never see those people again, so.
Okay.
Next. You know what I mean? So I kind of had that, but that was super helpful, and it definitely got me in the door. And the more that you have, like, I think the biggest thing is to realize, like, it's just a conversation.
Yeah.
Like, some people are like, are you nervous to go listing appointment? I'm like, no,
Like, it's not a
just
sales
conversation.
meeting. You're not selling them a vacuum. You
No.
have to get the sale when you leave the house.
Right. And it's like, if they don't like me or it doesn't work out today, then it's like, you know what, it might work out later. I mean, I literally have one couple I can think of. I met with them 4 out of 5 years about selling their house. And then I finally kind of kicked them out of their house, but that's a whole other story.
So when you get a call to go see a house,
Yeah.
how often are you competing for that house as a listing?
Pretty much never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you get the call,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, hey, come on over. What do you
Yep.
focus on at that moment when you go to your listing presentations? Or what is a listing presentation like?
Listing presentation pretty much anymore is, I mean, it just depends on the situation. Because if I truly was competing, then I'm like, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to go through my book.
Yeah.
I always bring my listing presentation book, because sometimes there's things out of it that that I can use, even if I'm not doing my whole listing presentation.
Yeah.
And believe me, when I was newer and I was like first getting branded and getting my name out there, which John really helped me go from a brand new agent to like making over, a 6-digit income, like overnight, it felt like. So, but I take that in. But usually when people call me, it's like, my friend told me to call you. It's like
Yeah.
they're just expecting that I'm going to put their house on the market. And they're like, we are, if we decide to do this, we're going to do it. And sometimes people are like, I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm wasting your time. But, like, I don't know if I want to move. I'm like, no, this is what I do. Like, you got to make people feel comfortable because I think, like, even if something is not today, it doesn't mean it will be. I mean, I still need to check 2 years from now, 5 years from now, a month from now. So it's just having those connections. And so I literally pretty much go through, I walk through the house, we talk about it, what are the things that you like most here. It's never asked that to a widow, though. I stupidly made that mistake once. I'll never do that. Because then everybody's crying at the table.
Right.
Don't ask them what they like most about living there. So when their spouse has passed away. But then it's just like, okay, well, what do you guys think? And I pretty much am doing pretty much doing the pricing presentation. And, that's about it. I kind of talk a little bit about what I do and like how it works and
nice.
And when you started out though, you would be more dependent on like a presentation. Did it give you confidence or?
It just gave you consistency.
Okay.
Because if you're working with a family at 6 o'clock at night, they have 3 kids and they're hungry and they need diaper changes and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, the phone rang. And then you're just like, boom, I was at 0.6. Here we go. You know what I mean? So I could,
So
a lot of you guys do the dot loop thing, which I still do dot loop, but like I was very good at reading upside down.
Yeah.
Because everything.
I think we all get pretty good at it. We're like, okay.
It's like, here's my listing presentation. Flip. So.
I mean, remember running through contracts upside down too?
Yeah, I
you
still do that.
You upside down contract.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, but now that I can afford to get my nails done, we don't even do that. So I'm like, come on. Like, I don't even get to point anything out. So.
That's funny. What about kind of a similar question? If you run into a buyer, maybe you pick them up off an open house, that would be a new client.
I don't pick up buyers from open houses.
Okay.
Because I don't do open houses anymore.
Well,
guys, I serve my time.
Yes.
I serve my time 3 in a weekend so many times in my career. So
three per weekend.
Yeah, I will still do them sometimes, but Amanda Sanderson on my team, she's awesome. Like when I actually mentored her before she decided to join a team, she was very good at picking up buyers like instantly from open houses. So we've nicknamed her the Open House Whisperer. So
good.
We let so shout out. Thank you, Amanda.
So there's a lot of contacts to be made and money to be made in open houses.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So it's kind of like I have my business because honestly I figured you'd ask me, so I had to go through my list super fast today. But of my personal business, like my business that I do, not anything that Chris does or Amanda does, 90% of that still right now is people that I know or people who've referred me. So I don't do a whole lot of stranger danger, as I call it. So I leave that to Chris and Amanda. Sometimes we call Chris on my team our security guard, so he watches over us from a distance electronically. But there's business to be made off of what I do. Because, like, I don't, because I know this person and I have their house listed and it's on the market. Like, I don't want to be out every single weekend doing open houses, but she can be grabbing business from that. So
that's great. That's a win-win.
Yeah, for sure.
On your team, do you have, how do you keep track of all the leads? Do you use a system or is it, like, write it down? And like some they're 2 years out, do you use a database?
Yeah, I mean, basically, because for the most part, how it's set up is Chris is very good at the admin, reading the title work, making sure everything's put together, making sure that, doing all of that stuff. He's awesome at that. And then Amanda's kind of the one, like, if a sign call comes in, I'm just like, hey, you need to get on the phone with this person. So I don't really have a great way necessarily, other than it's just take care of it. Just
so you don't use top producer or anything like that?
Well, I mean, I have top producer that I use, like the stuff, but it's just kind of like I can't say like I get like 200 leads a month or anything, but when leads come in, these are good quality leads that most of the time they work because a lot, like for example, when when I was in Arizona for our anniversary week. And so somebody called me, one of my clients referred their friends to me. Well, they needed to look at a house tonight. Well, I'm not going to be able to show you when I'm in Arizona. So Amanda took care of that and just went and did, and boom, like so most of the stuff that comes in is just very good. Like, look, we're going to get it, but I'm not going to give you 200 leads a month, but when it does, but that frees her up to do more things. We all have family, like all of us have family. So I don't want to have like such a crazy business that you're not allowed, like, her son's in football, for example. It's like, you need to go do those things. Because otherwise, like, what's the point?
So,
right?
I have questions about you, because you're a mentor as well.
Yeah.
You mentor agents. On top of having your team, you also do mentoring.
Yeah.
So, from your experience in your years of mentoring and all the people you've mentored, what's been like the most common issue that people have? Is there a common issue?
Common issue. What do I do?
Yeah.
I got a license. What do I do? Because they don't teach you anything. They give you enough to pass a state exam.
Right.
But you don't know anything about contracts. It's just kind of like, okay, this is great, but what do I do?
Do you find that the biggest issue is understanding all the documents or knowing what to do to get business? Or is it
working with clients?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because, like,
I think it's a little of both, because we don't really want you running out with clients until you understand the contract.
Yeah.
Because if you don't understand the contract, so.
Good luck.
Yeah. I will tell you, though, we're going to shout out back to Andy Smith. So if you ever want to know anything I said, he probably has it written in his computer, because he always typed notes. So, but he literally did an open house for another agent in our office at that time. And so people walked in and said, yep, looks good. We want to write an offer. Well, what do you want to write? We don't like to wheel and deal, just write it. And he's like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So he's like going back and forth. I was on a cruise ship, by the way, so he couldn't get a hold of me. So anyway, but he did excellent. Like I'm like, you know what? That does not happen. You will serve your time, like, eventually, because that does not always happen. But I mean, the good thing is he knew what to do, because I think it's like that freak out moment the first time somebody wants to write an offer, like, oh my gosh, what do I do? It's like, okay, take a deep breath. We've talked about this. You know this contract. But this is, a listing contract, let's face it, a monkey couldn't screw that up. Yeah. But a purchase agreement is dangerous when you write on it. So that's why it's so important to know that, and then have somebody that can, I know Amanda on my team a lot of times says, oh my gosh, how do people do this without somebody like you? Because there's always different ways of like, oh, we could do this and this. But it's experience. Like I tell people, if this was your first day in real estate, Leo, I would say the only difference between you and me is I have more experience. Yeah. That's it. Like there's nothing more different about me other than I'm willing to share. Right. So I think just learning the contracts, and then we can talk about what's best for you. So I've had different people that I've mentored. One enjoys knocking on doors. Mm-hmm. Like Amanda, for example, is good at open houses. Another one, he's just good at going down and sitting down with people at restaurants and bars and just socializing, and picks up business that way. Everybody has their own unique thing. So for me to learn like who you are and like what that plan is for you, because I know you've talked about that, Paul, like, even Leo, like, this is what you do, and you're like, this does not work for me. Yeah. Like, you have to get out of that box.
Yeah, I have to kind of go with where I think I'm naturally the strongest.
Yes.
Which has worked for me, and I think that's why you do business one way, I've done it a different way, and you do it a third way.
Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of different ways to do it, but what fits in your personality? Yeah. So I know sometimes Leo has shown people like how he does a CMA, and then I've shown them how to do a CMA, and it's like, okay, like you can pick and choose, or even like sit down with another agent. Yeah. I'm sure many agents would be willing to sit down with you, but you have to ask them. They're not going to be like, hey, Paul, do you need help today?
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm happy to help somebody. I constantly, like, I've already like had probably 3 or 4 texts from people that either have sat in my class in the past or whatever, asking me questions today already. So I'm like a little bit of a crazy hotline. So
yeah. Do you do your classes every Monday?
No.
Or is it every other Monday?
The first and third Monday of the month. So sometimes if there's, 5 Mondays in that month, then we just do the first and
third Monday. Mm-hmm. Is it open to anybody?
Yes.
Or is it just, okay.
Yep. Anybody can come. It doesn't matter if you're 1 minute in the business or 30 years in the business. We have like all sorts of different people, and it makes the class fun, and it's a smaller setting. So And I always like to have like kind of an open table where it's like people can ask questions, because if you're asking me a question, then 2 months from now Leo might be like, oh, we talked about that, what happened with Paul, and then it's like we can talk about that again real quick about what that's like. So
okay.
But that's a very different class than the one-on-one.
Yeah.
So one-on-one is like hand holding, like if you need to get a hold of me at like 8:00 at night because you got to write an offer real quick. It's like I'm literally, I feel like that's kind of where I excel, is like the
on the fly, real time, what's going on.
Yeah, and that's where people learn, is immersion. Yeah. I didn't learn Spanish from studying it for 7 years. I learned it from the 4 months I lived
It's like,
there.
how do you learn to play tennis?
Yeah.
By reading a book or getting out there and
I don't know.
hitting the ball. I think you learn by hitting the ball back and forth.
You do, but I mean, I don't do flying balls by my face, so like,
You brought this up earlier that there's some distractors, and what would you say are the 2 or 3 big distractions, for maybe a newer agent, or we kind of get into a flow and you're like, this is really a distraction. This isn't really helping my business.
I mean, a distraction can be easy as like, you really have to focus on like, are these going to do anything? Because sitting there and looking through new listings, like, oh, let's look at the new listings. What's the point of looking through 300 listings, especially when there are areas like, if you don't work the Kalamazoo market, do you need to know what's down there? Do you need to know what's way up in like White Cloud or whatever if you don't even work that market, I mean, granted, we all kind of float, into the different areas, so sometimes that's important. But really to look through that stuff is like, is this like, why are you looking through it?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like really focusing on like, what are you going to do? Like, note cards, I've had a huge success from note cards. So I'm just going to throw it out there. These guys don't know I'm doing this, so I'm giving you the 50 card Thanksgiving challenge now.
All right, so this is for everybody watching.
Everybody watching, absolutely.
Okay.
So,
run us through this.
So this is what I do. I'm just going to tell you how I run this, and this has been super successful for me because sometimes this time of year it can be slower for some people. And you go, oh my word, what do I do? Well, let's do something that actually makes sense. So I'm sending out, I take out of my database, I take the top 50 people that I think are most likely to refer. If you don't know who that is, look at your sales. Like, who did you sell to, or who are you the closest with right now? And you send them a Thanksgiving card. You always send 2 business cards, no more, no less, in your Thanksgiving card. You can go down to Dollar General. Like, you can get some for like 50 cents. It's like super cheap. And then you send out 50 Thanksgiving cards. And you don't tell them you're in real estate. Your business card's already in there. They already know this. And then at Christmas time, everybody on your Christmas list is going to get a card with a business, and I write a little letter and I send that. And then in January, or like right at the end or beginning of January, I'm like wishing them a Happy New Year. Another 50 people from the top. So it's 50, all 50.
And the then, 50 is different every time? So it's not the same 50? Okay.
It's not the same people. I have kind of my database like printed out, and then I put a T for the Thanksgiving card, and then at Christmas I do a check mark, and then N for New Year. So just so I have this. Right. I know I'm old, you guys. I use pen and paper. Okay, so whatever. So my challenge to you is to get. I already bought my cards from Dollar General, so sorry guys, you'll have to find a different one. But yeah, get those out because that is huge. Like that's how I get. I think I don't know exactly. I know we had 9 closings in March, and I truly believe that was from the beginning of sending those
starting
out.
Right now.
Yes.
You're preparing for February right now. Or I'm sorry, March right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Beginning of the year.
So how many postcards do you send in a single year? Or like handwritten notes or whatever in a year?
Oh, in a year? Why do you ask me these? I don't know.
What would you guess? 50 plus 50 plus you do 200.
200. Oh, I have 218 on my database because I don't put everybody on my database.
But those are handwritten or are those like printed?
Yes. No, handwritten, and then I type out the letter, but I handwrite it.
Yeah.
Or I hand sign it.
Yep.
So those are hand signed. But then I do the cards because I'm doing like a lot of birthday anniversaries.
But always to your sphere, the same 200 people.
Mm-hmm. Yep, just constant. Yeah, so I don't know, hundreds. Definitely hundreds. Because if you think about that, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I'll do. I did 50 for Easter.
Yeah, you feel inspired.
Yeah. It's like easy, you guys. Like seriously, I was waiting for my son. I fixed my database last night while I'm waiting for him. He's in a 1-hour appointment. I hashed out 5 Thanksgiving cards. Boom. Done. Like, this is easy to do. And besides that, it's like what. November 7th.
You got time.
Get them in the mail by the 19th.
By
Come
the 19th?
on. Yeah.
By the 19th.
By the
guys.
19th.
All right,
I
that's
wouldn't
your
be good at
deadline.
what I did if I didn't give you homework.
So we have if you had to, we asked this question because you've done a lot. You've done open houses. You've did your time.
Yeah.
Is what you've said.
Yeah.
You've passed out flyers. I'm sure you've done almost everything to get business. If you had to start your business over, what 2 or 3 things would you say? This is what I'm going to focus on.
Oh, like what I would focus on? Just literally, I did not do postcards, or I did not handwrite letters and stuff. I'm telling you that is like, I know people like, oh, that's so like, you know, some people are like, it's girly, it's cheesy, my handwriting is awful. But I'm telling you, people like love that. I would have totally focused on that.
Okay.
Which I think as a newer agent, I started like kind of doing that, not knowing what I was doing. I'd be like, if somebody got engaged, I'd send something out. Not with my business card though, because I thought, well, that's weird, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But then when I, you know, kind of, I would definitely focus on that and just being with people, you know what I mean? In different things, like whether it be like, you know, through your church or some type of club or something that you're in. I mean, there's like lots of stuff. An agent tell me about this. I'm like, what are you getting involved in? It's like meetup though, but it's like you have all these different groups. Like if you like Star Wars, like you can meet people there, and you know what I mean? Or I don't know, if you like running, or you like, I don't know, whatever you people like. So, but you could. There's always something. So there's always, and just probably just being more of like the people person, because I think that's where
staying connected.
Yeah, because probably in about August, like right when I was getting back from our 2-week vacation in Maui, I was like, I've had a good year. I'm just going to hang out with people. And then my phone blew up. So I'm like, haven't had like, I mean, I was trying to make a point at like once a week to like sit and, you know, meet maybe a previous client and go to lunch, or a friend of mine who's an agent or something like that. So I'm trying to get better at that, because I'm not a social person. Like, I don't do grar gala kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I do like the 5-star Christmas party. Just put a plug in there.
December 14th.
December 14th.
December 14th.
What
time? What time?
This Facebook Live is sponsored by the Christmas party.
Starting at 6 o'clock. S'mores, photo booth.
Ooh, s'mores.
Music.
I'm in.
I said photo booth. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, so Steve.
Awesome.
There we go.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah. No
And
problem.
maybe there'll be some people here that will join your class on Mondays.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
Mondays
So-
with Melinda. That's what it's been dubbed.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
And we put it on, I put it on the 5-star Connect.
Okay,
like
so
what
you'll
we're gonna
just
do.
keep
So-
an eye out for those announcements.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Melinda.
All right, thanks.
All right.